Coach. We spoke Saturday about how you let the team, the captain, take control of kind of the moment, and they addressed the team before the game Saturday because you didn't have any other tactical things to discuss regarding the second game at Sacred Heart. Do you think you'll be utilizing that more? Is that kind of a common thing you guys do toward the end of the season, that sort of thing?
Well, the players need to take this thing over and this time of year. And to be honest with you, if we're coaching our butts off this time of year, we're in trouble. We're in a lot of trouble. And actually, it was Coach Doyle's idea to hand it over, because we got together and we said, hey, the difference in the night before is they took advantage of their chances than we did of ours. Heck, we outshot them 33-13, and we lose 3-2. We certainly could have been on the good end of that 3-2 score had we gotten a bounce here or a bounce there. It got right down to on Friday, we had a 5-minute major that we didn't take advantage of. And what's worse is we took ourselves out of 2 minutes of it with an avoidable too many men on the ice penalty. Now, we let the captains take over. Before the game on Saturday, we talked about, the good line changes, the too many men on the ice, the things that we can control. Let's control. Let's not beat ourselves. And to be honest with you, we went out on Saturday, and I thought, as I told you on Saturday, I thought that was our finest hour. I mean, we played 3 really good, sound periods, and we had to. We were the better team all weekend, despite the fact we didn't always have the best player on our team. The best player over the weekend was Robbins, the goaltender for Sacred Heart. We overcame him. But at this time of year, and with the competition the way it is, it doesn't take much for things to go sideways and a win turn into a loss. Hey, don't think Kyle Shanahan's not sitting around today going, for all intents and purposes, we may have lost because we didn't convert an extra point. I mean, if they convert that extra point, now Mahomes has got to score a touchdown. Now Mahomes is good at doing those types of things, but you would have increased the degree of difficulty at shooting time coming down the stretch in the fourth quarter. And so a couple things need to happen is like you need to take advantage of all the things that are there. You don't want to give extra outs to your opponent. And the other thing is, again, go back to the Super Bowl yesterday when everything was on the line and they missed that extra point. They enabled Kansas City to tie it. They didn't score the touchdown in overtime. San Francisco kicked the field goal. Now you give the ball to the best player in the NFL, and when the best player in the NFL is the best player in that game, it ends up the way it did last night. Reminds me a lot of the Super Bowl with Atlanta in New England when the Atlanta had them beat, but they gave a little crack in the door to Tom Brady. Big mistake. He takes advantage of it. But again, we don't take advantage of a 5-minute major on Friday. They killed off 3 minutes of it. We take ourselves out of 2 minutes of it. At the end of the night, we lose 3-2. There's not a whole lot to look back. We played a good game. We outshot them. We outplayed them for the most. But until they decide a different way, unless they figure out a different way to decide hockey games, you got to score more goals than the other team, and we didn't on Friday. And again, on Saturday, what did we do to beat ourselves? What did we do on Friday to beat ourselves? The answer is not a whole hell of a lot. We played a pretty darn sound 3 periods, and we had to. I mean, Robbins, the other goaltender, I didn't know if we were ever going to score on him for a while, and we find a way to get a couple goals and hard-fought goals, and we win a hard-fought 2-0 game. And it's not going to be any different this weekend when we go to the first-place team in the league, RIT. We're going to Rochester to play them, and we're going to have to be equally as sharp.
Speaking of Rochester, I'll add this one here, Coach. At the beginning of the season, you said it's less about the opponents and more about you guys. I assume now at the end of the season, it's still about you guys, but now that you guys have kind of figured out your identity and who you're going to be, can you talk to me about the Rochester matchup a little bit? What are you seeing from them, and how can you beat them and get points this weekend?
nothing against the previous reporters, but you have a better memory than all of them. You remember all that stuff. Did I really say that? I want to see that. We need to look. I'm saying, okay.
We'll check the tape.
Yeah,
I'm
you
pretty
check.
sure.
Yeah, yes, I might throw a flag. Yeah, I want. Yeah,
That red challenge.
yes, the red challenge. But no, you're right. And again, I don't think it changes anything. It is more about us than it is about our opponent. Hey, we don't control our opponent, but the only thing we have control over is ourselves and how we play collectively, how connected we are. And going into Rochester first and foremost, I think the biggest thing, Hugh, is I want us playing at our best. And if somebody beats us, it's because they beat us, not because we beat ourselves. And that's part of the journey, learning how not to beat yourself. We beat ourselves at Holy Cross. I don't want to say we beat ourselves on Friday, but we didn't take advantage of an opportunity that presented itself, and that ended up costing us with the final score. We certainly didn't do anything, I didn't think, to beat ourselves on Saturday. We won. We deserved to win. It was a hard-fought 2-0 win, but I mean, it was a fingernail biter right until the very end. I mean, I finally looked up with about 26 seconds left, and we had a 2-goal lead, and I'm starting to feel a little bit comfortable. But that's the way it's going to be. The competition is that tough, and the margin of error is just that thin.
Going to be doing a feature on Chris Hedden in the upcoming weeks. One of the points I wanted to hit on was he's a sophomore. Sophomores, as you know, they have up to that sophomore year to decide if they're staying with Air Force, if they're going somewhere else. He is, I want to say top 15, top 16 in assists per game in the nation right now, top 40 in points per game in the nation. He's leading your team, tied with Gavin in terms of points. Are you worried, concerned that he might be getting calls from other teams, and what do you say to him if he is?
Well, first of all, right now, we're not going to allow. It's white noise right now, okay. And we got to get through the season. He's got to get through the season, and for his hockey career, for him as a teammate, for this team, control what you can control, and all you can control right now is how well you play. That's there, and that's there for all our players. And Chris is a good player. The front side of his game, you can't teach that. It's like Will Gavin, his goal scoring ability. You can't teach that. Is he a finished product? No, he's far from a finished product. But he's got those attributes, those offensive attributes that, I always say, you can teach defense to a willing competitor, but offense is oftentimes God-given, and he's got those offensive attributes that are God-given and that you really can't teach. The same thing with Gavin. Gavin's goal on Saturday night was a goal scorer's goal. I mean, I don't know if you looked at the assist on the goal on Friday. I mean, like in tight quarters, and his thought to action it's remarkable, and he slides that puck to Parker Brown. Now you can work on those things, and Gavin and Brown convert it, and Adams and Schwartz have a tough time converting it. Do you know what I mean? It takes a lot of different instruments to make up an orchestra. But in regards to Chris Hedden and his future after this season, we'll have to wait and see what it presents itself. And but right now, we're not talking. I actually have a meeting with Chris Hedden today, and it's about being the best version of himself on both sides of the puck, because I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves either, but we're going to be missing a pretty key cog in our lineup come playoff time, and that guy number 4 is easy to throw over the boards, because he's so dependable for us on both sides. Well, I know a couple guys number 6 and number 22 who can help the front side, help the offensive side of that. Those guys need to equally, who's going to absorb those minutes on the defensive side? And I think those guys can help us, but they need to be better. They need to be better. I always tell players like that, if I have a rink here, and here's one zone and here's the other. Here's our goalie, there's their goalie. This is my zone. This is your zone. And your job is to make sure you play the way we play collectively, group of 5. You play with everybody defensively in this. Everybody's plays under the same set of rules. This zone in the middle, you help us get through there. We get into here, that's the fun zone for you. You go ahead. You do your thing down here, but you do my thing down here, and you help us get through this thing here. And come playoff time, we're going to need. Like I said, we're going to lose. We're going to lose a lot of testosterone and a lot of experience. And those boys have got the talent. They don't have the experience. They're going to need to play above their pay grade, and we need them to take some steps as players on, especially on the defensive side of the puck over the next 4 games. If for us to be the team that we need to be in the playoffs without Luke Rowe.
Real quick follow-up. You mentioned number 6. I believe that's Baumgartner. He's a freshman. What has he shown you this season that you would trust him in those situations to give him those minutes that would be vacated by Luke Rowe?
Well, I mean, like those guys, both Hedden and Baumgartner. If you look, a football example, they're 2 young Barry Sanders. If they're a basketball player, they're Isaiah Thomas. They've got that front side ability. We don't have a lot of players that, when you're watching as a fan, that lift you out of your seat. Those guys do some things that lift you out of your seat. We don't get a lot of those guys at Air Force, and you don't have to know a blue line from a clothesline to say, that number 6 got some happy feet. That number 22, he's got some shake and bake, there's one thing with young players, and they come in when you're lucky enough to get guys like that. They come in with some major league ability, some major league skills, but some minor league habits, and we need those backside habits to improve. And it's sad because usually, if we were a more mature team, you can let those guys play, and you've got 4 experienced guys that you can throw out in those defensive situations. We need them to play above their pay grade. We're asking a freshman and a sophomore to accelerate the timeline on their development. But we need that because they do have the talent, they do have the ability, and we have they're not the only young ones back there. Starring, Cunningham, we got a pile of them back there, and we need those guys to help us win games. But a big part of helping us win games is making sure you're not losing games for us.